Welcome back, everyone. Here is the first episode of Gym Thoughts. This is going to be a new podcast series where I work out. I encourage you guys to work out with me, and we will kind of go over some thoughts. One day it may be focus improvement, the benefits of mental health, anything like that, kind of those gym thoughts that are recurring and kind of help us live out our day-to-day lives. So with that, we'll first break down the workout in every episode. That'll allow you guys to be able to follow along with if you'd like. Otherwise, enjoy the listen. Let me know how you guys enjoy it and some new topics you'd like to hear about. Today, we're kind of going to talk more about focus and how to bring that throughout our entire day, using some of the techniques that most people use in the gym without even knowing. But let's break down the workout first. First things first, we're going to do 4 sets of kettlebell swings, 10 reps each. Second exercise will be kettlebell snatches, 6 reps each for 4 sets, and then kettlebell cleans, 4 sets, 6 reps. This will be a pretty quick workout. Means it'll be a quick podcast. Like I said, we'll be kind of talking about focus, and that brings me to my first topic of breaking a task down. When it comes to breaking down a task in a real world, sometimes we get hung up on how daunting or how long it might be. Similar to when you're looking at a workout and it's 40 set workout, seems like a lot, but as you break it down set by set, all of a sudden it becomes a lot more manageable. That is like any task, and you can bring that into the rest of your day, where if you have a treacherous day ahead of you, break it down by task, find out what you got to get done, and get into it bit by bit until you've completed it. We're starting here with our kettlebell swings. So if you're following along, we're doing our first set of 10. And just like that, we're getting into it. There is 1 set done of our 12 sets today. But what I see a lot happening now, and it happens to me a lot, is you set yourself up, you know what you have to get through, you try your best to get through it, and you just lose the steam to keep going. What like I said, have found helps me is to then take that task and break it down into 5 to 10 smaller tasks within each task. So then you're boom, boom, knocking everything out instead of waiting for this daunting task to get done. So that's some of the mentality you can bring into it. The other thing I notice that we do while working out is we time ourselves. We time our working time, we time the rest time, and it really helps keep us accountable for the workout we're doing. You can bring that into your day-to-day work, chores, anything like that. You got to clean the bathrooms, and you're looking at it going, I got 4 bathrooms to clean. I don't want to clean either of them. Set a timer for 30 minutes and race yourself for it. Try and get those tasks a little bit competitive for yourself. And then all of a sudden you've cleaned 4 bathrooms in 30 minutes and you're ready to rock for the rest of the day without having to think about it. It's sometimes very easy to forget that technique when going about the day. Here we're getting into set number 2 with the kettlebell swings, working our way up in weight. Just like that, we got set number 2 done. The other thing that people are very accustomed to doing while working out, and less so in their day-to-day life, is tracking. You may get done with your day, you haven't tracked what you did all day, and you're going to bed that night and you're going, what did I do today? What did I accomplish? Keep a list. Make sure you know what you're getting done day in and day out. Really helps you stay accountable to yourself. And it allows you to go to bed at peace, knowing this is exactly what I accomplished. This is what I set out to accomplish. And really try and build day to day. Like I said, it's somewhat self-explanatory when it comes to working out. Everyone's heard of progressive overload and how to get stronger in the gym. But what people don't want to do is progressively overload in life. That's essentially what we're doing. We're just trying to get better a little bit each day. Maybe you used to be able to knock out these 3 tasks and it took you all day. Now you can knock out those 3 tasks in half a day, and you have half the day to do other things and really add to your list of what you're getting done, so you can build on what you're able to accomplish each day. Here's set 3. And like I said, without having a baseline of what we're able to get done, without tracking it a little bit, it was very hard to know if you're getting better or not. So I'm a big advocate on track everything you're doing. If you like to track your sleep, track your sleep. I think anything you can track, you can improve on. But if you're not tracking it, you'll never really improve on it, just because you don't know what improvement is. I also, for working out, we recognize that you got to warm up before you can get into the heavy lifting of the day. Kind of take that philosophy into life, and you need to be warm for the day, well rested, wake up, get your blood flowing, slowly go through that morning routine to get to a point that you're ready to really crush everything. If you're waking up and immediately jumping into your emails, you're kind of stagnating your day a little bit. You're putting a lot of mental blockers in before you're ready for it. So what I really like to do is work through that morning routine. It's kind of a warm up for the day. If we're working out for an hour, 5 to 10 minutes of that should be a warm up. If we're working for an 8 to 10 hour day, 30 minutes to an hour to kind of warm yourself up and get ready for that, instead of immediately trying to start. Get your mind right, get focused on what we need to get done today. And like I said, break it down into working sets, and knock out task after task. You'll be able to go to bed feeling accomplished, not going to bed feeling dread of, man, I didn't get anything done today. Or sometimes you get a lot done, and if you're not tracking it, you won't know what you got done. So you can still question whether you got what you needed accomplished. Um, that's where that tracking it kind of comes in. Is we can track it. We can look back in our journal, our phone app, whatever you want to track it on, and say, hey, I did this, 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 and this week after week, day after day, year after year. And similar to your first year working out, you're not going to be as big as you are, or as strong as you are, as fast as you are, as you will be in 12 years when you've been doing it for a long time. That's the same thing with life. Start tracking that so that you're able to see the growth over the years, and you won't look back when you're 50s, 60s and go, man, I left a lot on the table. And say, no, I did exactly what I wanted to do. I controlled my destiny with that. And that's what it's really all about, is doing what you needed to do, and getting yourself set up. Here's set number 4. The other thing that we like to do while working out is use music for focus, or beats, or anything like that, to kind of get our headspace in the right spot, get us amped up for the workout. And I think we can use that in your day-to-day work in order to use a song that, or music genre, that's going to not drag you down and get you too hung up in what you're listening to, but be able to quiet the mind and allow you to focus. I know a lot of people like to listen to podcasts, or books even. I think for me personally, I've found some sort of focus beat, or like a big booty mix type song where I know what's coming and heard it a bunch. It's got that high energy to keep my energy up. Has worked really well for me. Personally, books or podcasts, anything like that, I'm trying to listen and focus. And if I'm trying to focus on that, it's taken my focus away from the work that I'm trying to accomplish, versus if I can lock in with some headphones and just have almost elevator-y music kind of going to just kind of drown the external thoughts out, and be able to lock into the work that we're trying to get done in that set for that day. So kind of how I envision it is, if we have an 8-hour workday, each of those 8 hours should be one set. Maybe you're breaking it up into 30-minute sets, so then you're at 16 sets in a day. And just each hour, boom, 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 check that set, check that set, check that set. Staying laser focused, staying locked in on what we're doing in the moment, and not checking our phone, not getting hung up on external things, but trying to be laser focused to really grow. Now, I think books and podcasts are great to listen to. There's great insight you can get from it, but I like to utilize those in times when I'm not trying to overly focus on work or anything like that. A nice car ride, even a gym session. I can sometimes get a podcast or a book listened to, because it doesn't necessarily take as much focus to just go through the motions of working out. But I have noticed sometimes if I'm listening to a book and working out, my rest sets will be longer because I'm losing focus on that. Let's get into our first set of kettlebell snatches, as always, doing tactical clean or tactical snatch style. Um, and we got that one done. And then another aspect of the focus part that we can bring from our workouts is getting everything prepared before starting it. Um, and what I mean by that is that if we are going to lift a 70-pound kettlebell, I'm not going to grab the 50-pound kettlebell and start a set and then try and switch to the 70-pound kettlebell. I am going to get ready with 70-pound kettlebell and do my set with that weight. Um, with that in life, it more so would look like I'm not going to sit down for my hour block to knock out this task and immediately when I sit down, go use the restroom or get 5 minutes in and go use the restroom or go grab a snack or refill my coffee. I'm going to make sure I've used the restroom, my coffee's full, my water bottle's ready. So when I sit down for that hour, I can truly sit down and be engaged for that hour. It wouldn't make sense to say I'm going to do an hour set here for my day and then immediately go get a coffee. And now you're 10 minutes into your set, but you haven't done anything. So your set really hasn't started at that point. Um, and it's even worse if you get 10 minutes in and then you're, oh, I'm thirsty, which is fair. But now if you go get water during that, you've kind of hindered your sets a little bit. Here we're going to get into set number 2 of these kettlebell snatches. And again, you can use that for anything, whether it's work, chores, anything. You don't want to, I'm not going to say I'm going to clean the bathrooms and then start cleaning it, but not have my rags ready. So I've sprayed it all out. Now I'm going to go get rags. What I'm going to do is grab the bathroom cleaner and grab my rags, go into the bathroom, and not leave the bathroom until it's done being cleaned. This really, for me at least, helps avoid just distractions in general. You know, if you got to go back down to the kitchen to grab some paper towels to wipe the bathroom down and something's on the TV, maybe you stop for only 5 minutes and watch it, but that's 5 minutes gone and you probably could have had the bathroom done by then. Um, and now, none of this is perfect, but if you can start trying to implement some of this stuff into your day-to-day life, it will make things that much easier and hopefully smoother so that you can get more done and progressively overload your life. Let's get into this set 3. I wear chalk. My hands still slip. I gotta maybe use more chalk. Now, again, we've kind of gone over some techniques to use to be able to knock some of this focus out and really lock in for different sessions. I also think one of the underthought about things when dealing with focus is external behaviors that lead to lower focus. Um, a lot of that is trying to multitask. You're working on a specific task, someone emails you about something else, and now you're thinking about two things while trying to knock out one or two things, and it's just going to take you that much longer to get all of that knocked out. Um, so really trying to minimize those distractions. I think diet can play a role in focus. I know if I wake up, have a decent workout, have a good breakfast, have a healthy lunch, my energy level and focus level throughout the day is going to be substantially higher than if I slowly get up, don't move, immediately go to my workstation and start working, skip breakfast, have McDonald's for lunch or something, and the day is just going to drag on. So I think one aspect is making sure we're doing what we can to get right. That's why I'm a big proponent of starting our mornings with a workout and using midday walks to kind of regain that stabilization of your nervous system and keep going. Here's set number 4. And just like that, we're through the snatches and on to the cleans. Now, that brings me back to the midday walks, or whatever you want to use for your brain break. Um, when we're working out, we do our set and then we rest. Um, in life, and especially in a work day, we need that do your set, catch a rest type of thing. Now, like working out, if I'm trying to go heavier, my rest is going to be longer. If I am doing lighter and trying to get some more conditioning in, I will go shorter rest sets. And you can use that with your workday sets and everything like that. I'm going to get into these cleans and then we'll finish that thought. There. We got our first set done. So with the workday rest, if your first block of your day is maybe checking emails, so you're going to spend an hour going through emails and responding to everything, that tends to not have quite as much brain power as a deep focus working session. So with that, maybe you need a 5-minute break when it's done to go grab a coffee and kind of reset yourself like that. Now, if you've hit a hour and a half or 2 hours of really locked in technical work or something that requires a deep amount of thought, you may need a 15-minute walk to kind of regather yourself and get ready for that next set of work that we're going to do. If you try and rush that, you may not be quite ready for the next set. If you just go to the restroom and come back, you're kind of like, well, I'm dogged down and exhausted. Get up and go for that quick walk and really recenter yourself to then knock out that next task. Some tasks are definitely longer than an hour. They take, some could take all day to knock out one single task. Okay, let's get into set number 2 for the cleans. And that's where it's super crucial to break those tasks down into more doable, manageable tasks. I do a lot of taxes. So if I know it's going to take me 8 hours to review this tax return, it's hard to say, here's an hour, stop it at an hour, and then just pick back up randomly until that task is done. It's going to take you a lot of time. So it's really about breaking that up into a more manageable section. So if I know it's going to take me 8 hours, I may say I'm going to spend the first hour reviewing this, the next hour I'll review this, and I don't like to use time. I'd rather have it be a task-based start and end. I would more time, but maybe my task 1, once that's done, take a little break. Task 2, once that's done, take a little break. But when designing the miniature tasks, a part of this greater task, you need to make sure that it's building on top of each other and getting to the point where at the end of all of these tasks, we will be done with our bigger tasks. Breaking it down into that more manageable parts and more manageable tasks really can help keep that moving and open up more windows of opportunity to get stuff done. And you can get 8-hour tasks done in 6 hours potentially if you structure your miniature tasks better. It's going to set 3 here. So as I near my last tasks of this workout, the last set, a lot of this ultimately has more flexibility than we allow. People here break it into tasks, be rigid, but the reality is life isn't rigid, it's very fluid. So we need to structure the tasks and days to be able to allow for some of that. If you have a code red pop up at work and you have to shift from your task, you want to be able to do that and not get hung up. Again, that's where writing it down and tracking our tasks throughout. So if you have a 8-hour project to do that you think you're going to have all day to do, and 3 people decide to throw meetings on you, you don't want to be so stuck in your ways that when that happens, you can't help those people out. You want to be able to be fluid with it so you can say, well, I have my 8 hours. I thought I was going to have 8 hours to knock this whole project out. I'm going to have to shift that into 2 days. I have 4 hours that are outside of meetings. I'll do these tasks during it, and then tomorrow the next 4 tasks or whatever that is will be waiting for you. But again, tracking that, keeping decent notes on it so that when you get into it tomorrow, you're not backtracking in order to get that project done. And then you can sign off and send it on its way and start your next project. Here's our final set of kettlebell cleans. And just like that, we've completed our first task of the day. I'm able to mark this off of my to-do list. I had 1 workout to get done. I broke that down into 3 exercises and broke those down into 4 sets, which allowed me to manageably get through it. We're now 30 minutes into our workout. We're able to put this task behind us and move on to the next one and the next one until we do it all again tomorrow. Thanks for joining this first podcast. There will be one of these a week or so where I kind of break down some things that'll help, things like focus or mental health, a little bit of how the gym can help us in the real world and outside of the gym. We can use a lot of these principles used in the gym to improve our day-to-day lives and kind of build ourselves into working machines. But with that, have a great day. Thanks for listening, and hope you enjoyed.